So this particular topic, this is not one that I will profess to have mastered in any way. This is one where it's easy, and one of the things that I'll talk through for the time that I'm on here is I'll talk through some strategies that I have used, but I have to constantly remind myself to go back to that because with everything that may be going on, right, and with all the roles that you may have, it's easy to get sort of lost in the sauce, so to speak, because something becomes urgent. The kid needs this, the husband needs the attention, the boss is like, well, where is this at? And you're trying to build your business. Like it's easy to get caught in fires. So even for me, it's very important that I go back and revisit some of the things that I'm going to tell you on a constant basis. It's not a one and done. And I will tell you this too, while you're in your place of being excited and ready to be fully your own boss and never have to answer to anyone else, and that is a beautiful thing, it is wonderful. Just know that when it comes to time, if you are telling yourself, okay, well, when I'm no longer at that job, I will have, the complete time that I need to give to my family, to give to my husband, to give to my business. It is true that you will have more time, but the same principles will apply, that you've got to be careful in these roles and when you're shifting between these roles, because your time can get filled. And if you're not intentional, you'll lose sight of the things that you really want to do with that time. So here's the thing. When it comes to shifting between, being a mom, and then sort of jumping into entrepreneur world and then jumping into being a wife, the thing that I've found most helpful is being intentional going into the shift. So let me tell you what I mean. I try to think about, well, let me tell you, the times when I do feel like I've intentionally made my shift and I do feel like, oh yeah, good, I got this under control, like things feel good, like, whoo, feel like Superwoman, even though I'm not. Those times are the times when I've sort of intentionally said, well, what one thing do I need to really accomplish, like while I'm in this particular role, while I'm playing this person? What one thing that completely moves the needle do I need to accomplish? Sure, I've got a bunch of things on my to-do list, but what one thing just really moves the needle? And when I consciously think about that, going into my whatever that role is going to be, if I'm transferring into being a mom, transferring into being a boss, right, leading my team, whatever it is, hi Cassandra, whatever it is, then I find that I can go into that role and go and know that, all right, I just need to get this thing done. And when it's done, I feel like I can relax. Okay, it's time for me to go be mom. Okay, it's time for me to go and Netflix and chill with my husband, whatever it is. But when I go into that next role, not necessarily having determined, what was success for me while I was in the role before. And I hope you're following me. So if you're following what I'm saying, just drop in the chat that you're following. But when I go and let's say decide to be, all right, I'm going to go and be a wife, right, for the evening, chill with my husband, all this other stuff. But I never set my intention, excuse me, on what was important while I was in that role of being a boss. So like if there was something that I knew I needed to get done that day, but I maybe carried it on the last of my list, but I never thought about the fact that that was the most important thing to get done. Then when I have to shift into that role, I've got a million other things on my mind, right? The things that I didn't get done, the things that were important, how I spent my time. Maybe I feel like I wasted my time because I didn't get that thing done. Well, if I thought about it when I was shifting into that role, right? And maybe that was when the day started. Tell you when you are your own boss, right? And we've been talking about time and sort of life this whole month. But when you are your own boss, right? You do have to put those boundaries on your time because your day doesn't necessarily look like a 9 to 5 day. right? These past couple of days have been some later in the evening things for me, right? So this is why it's very important for you to set your intention to say, okay, if I know I plan to spend some time with my kids at a certain point in time when they're done with their virtual schooling or whatever, what's that one thing that you want to accomplish? Maybe it's a game that you want to play with them, or you guys wanted to go out for a walk together or something like that. Have that intention in your mind so that when you get that one thing accomplished, you feel like, okay, now I can go be wife, or now I can go back into entrepreneur mode if you choose to. But if you don't, again, it's hard to be all there in the space that you need to be when you need to be it. And to be honest with you, that type of thing can build up resentment, right? It can build up resentment from your children who feel like, oh, you never have time. These are things that I have to watch for myself too. And this is why I'm telling you this very seriously. It could be a resentment, or you never have time. And the truth is, you have time. You have an abundance of time, but you haven't decided what was important in that role in that moment so that you can move on to the next moment and the next role and that next important thing and be able to shift and shift and shift. Okay. So if you're with me, I see some folks are following. I disconnected my mouse here, so let me scroll down. Okay, Ayana, taking hats on and off, making sure time is spent intentionally in each role. Yep. Lucinda, time management and planning ahead. Yep, exactly. And this is not meant to be like a burdensome thing. My throat is very dry. Excuse me. This is not meant to be a burdensome thing. It literally is you saying, what one thing? Just what one thing? Like, I'm about to go be a mom. I'm about to go into the job in your case, right? I'm about to go into the job for the day and for my time or whatever. What one thing is just so important for me to have accomplished? Like that one thing that when I walk away from the job today, I feel like, okay, I feel settled in going home to do whatever I'm going to do. Be mom, work on my business, whatever it is. I feel like I can do that without carrying all the things that I didn't do with me into that role. So keep it very, very simple. So now here is some here's some action that I want you to take. So we kind of talked about before making the shift, the things are important, right? Decide that most important thing, just one thing. Don't get carried away. You probably have a bunch of things on your to-do list. That's fine. Consider those bonus items, right? What's the one needle moving thing that you're like, when I get that done, I'm good. And so be all in until that needle moving thing is done. So that's the other piece, right? If you know it needs to get done and it's super important, give it focus, attention, get it done so that you can move forward. And then the last thing is to get some family accountability. So I want you to think about this, especially when we're talking about the roles of being a mom, being a wife in particular, right? Which I bet, and there's an exercise that I want you to do, I want to leave you with, that I want you to do when you walk away from here. But I bet, if you are a mom, and if you are a wife, that those are priorities that are probably at the top of your list somewhere, I'm guessing, right? Probably at the top of your list. So utilize those folks that are closest to you and that love you the most to help you with your shift. And let me help you understand what I mean. So for my kids, one of the things that we had started doing, and I admittedly have fell off track, but one of the things that we started doing is when school had started back, 2 of my 3 are homeschooled, but when school had started back, is I said, okay, on Tuesdays, that's going to be a game day. It's going to be a game day. And we're going to play a game in the afternoon. It's going to be some educational game in the afternoon. And I told them that. And if you have kids and you tell them something that they are excited about, they are going to be looking for it, right? They're going to be holding you accountable to act in that role with that thing that you really wanted to bring, right? You want to be, at least for me, right? I want to be I want to have that be a part of my mom role and that bonding thing. And so to let them know that, to convey that, and have them feed into that excitement, that's some accountability for me, right? Because how do I feel when they come to me saying, I thought it was supposed to be blah, 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 and you didn't do it, and you promised, right? Instant accountability. Same thing if you're a wife. Now, I know there's not like a whole lot of options here with COVID. However, there are a lot of things that can be done in the home. I won't go too far. But when it comes to being that spouse, right? Hey, we're going to do our own sort of date night thing here, right? We're going to do our own sort of like bath thing on this day or whatever it is. But involve your spouse in that accountability. I hear you, Cassandra. Involve your spouse in that accountability to that role and how you want to be in that role and how you want to play in that role. You don't have to be in it alone, right? It doesn't have to be a struggle alone. And so often it's easy for us, especially as women and as ambitious women, to kind of feel like, all right, well, I know I got to be this person, this person, this person, and this person. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it well. Even if it means I have a breakdown every once in a while, I'm going to do it well. It doesn't have to be that way. So allow your family to come in and help support you with that. Okay. If you're hearing what I'm saying, if it's resonating, just give me a yes in the chat so I know that you're with me. All right. Now here's the action that I have for you, and then I'm going to go away here. So the action that I have for you is this. So if you've got a pen and paper with you, if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay when that comes out, and you can come back and listen to this again too, just to make sure you get it. But there are 4 different steps. Okay, I see people are with me. So there are 4 different steps that I want you to take, right? This is down the path of being more efficient, but this is really going to help you sort of focus in on which of those roles really, really matter. So the first one is this, and I asked this question in the group earlier in the week about all the different roles. I was asking that in preparation for the live tonight. So here's what I want you to do. First thing, I want you to list out all of the roles that you are currently playing. And I want you to list them out in detail. So mom, okay, that's fine. Wife, okay, that's fine. But especially when it comes to things like if you're active in your community, if you're you do something on a church board or you're on a nonprofit board, whatever it is, be detailed with those different roles that you're playing. Maybe you are the, what do they call those people? The parent. You're in the parent-teacher association or the parent-teacher, something along those lines. Be detailed with what the roles are. Second thing I want you to do is I want you to rank order them. Okay? So rank order them. What's most important? That's number 1. And go all the way down the list. All right? Now, once you've got them rank ordered, I want you to start from the bottom. And now I want you to ask yourself, for each role, starting from the bottom, should I or can I pause this? Okay? Should I or can I pause this? And PTA mom, thank you. So should I or can I pause this? Okay? And the reason I want you to ask yourself this question is sometimes we overburden ourselves. And this isn't something that gets easier for you. Now this is I want you to really be here with me for a second. So this isn't something that gets easier for you when you move into full-time entrepreneurship. So like if you feel like, okay, my job takes up most of my time, it'd be great. When I don't have that, I'll be free. When you get into this world, and you're really into building your business and you're seeing different opportunities, and there are tons of opportunities. And those of you that coach with me know the opportunities are everywhere, but it does not mean that you should touch all of them. But the reality is when you have that world of, okay, I'm free to do this and I'm building this and I'm building that, you can find yourself in a lot more roles than you had when you were just in your 9 to 5. And so you getting into that practice of just sort of intentionally laying out. And I'm telling you this because I literally had to, I had to do it the other day to say, I can no longer give myself to this, right? I have to do this, I have to do that. So for you to go through and say, which of these can I pause or should I pause? And now when you go through each of them, if you find the ones that clearly stand out as, I can pause this, right? And I want to, right? I mean, if you don't want to do it, and don't do it. But if you can say, I can pause this and I want to, it's going to both A, allow you to sort of take a little bit of the stress off if it feels hectic transferring between roles, and allow yourself to be a little bit more present in the roles that are important to you. And the second thing is, it's going to allow you to, again, build up this skill that, trust me, you will need as you move into full-time entrepreneurship and as your businesses grow and as they become more and more successful. The ability to prioritize and to decide what's important for your time and what's not is huge. Okay? So that's all that I have for you tonight, ladies. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Again, hashtag replay for anybody that's watching on the replay. And yeah, have a great night, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. See ya.